Okay, today I am going to show you how to use an angle grinder with the wet dry polishing pads that you can swap out. You can get them off of eBay for under 20 bucks for a whole set of them. I have several sets. But the other day I was watching another YouTuber's channel. I'd never seen him before, and I was looking up something else. I just happened to stumble across him, and it's Camp Lapidary, and he pretty much just shows lapidary work. So if you're ever interested in learning lapidary and stuff, I think he'd be an excellent person to ask questions. But what he was doing, when the one that I saw, it was a Morgan Hill poppy jasper, and it had some fracturing, so he stabilized it. Well, here I have a couple pieces of stuff. This here, I get this up in the Blewett Pass area, and it has a problem with fracturing. And this here, well, I cut this years ago, and it's not too bad. But this piece here, right there, beautiful stuff. But this here, these lines here will tend to weather out, and that's what I want to get away from. So I picked up this piece the other day, and I actually coated it with super glue. That's what he coated his with. I've done lots of stonework, and I used to use epoxy, the two-part epoxy, but I've never really used the super glue. I don't think I ever have. So I'm going to try that out, and with these polishing pads, it'll be interesting to see how that works, because a polishing pad, it's got rubber in it, and you can heat up stuff, and I'm hoping it just doesn't smear the glue. So I'm going to get with this. I will show you how I use the angle grinder, and remember, I've been using angle grinders for many years. I did custom stonework, so I'm very familiar with them and confident in my use. So, well, we'll get to polishing this. Okay, I'm going to be starting out with a 50 right here. I've already got it on there, and you try to get these centered. And when you're polishing this, you want to keep your RPMs. Oh, let me get that right here. Down here, I have, this is what they call a lamp dimmer switch. And you can adjust the speed of this with this control here. And you may say, well, that's going to burn out this angle grinder, and maybe someday it might, but it hasn't done it in the last decade. So, but if you're concerned about your angle grinder, you can buy a lesser quality one, and it'll work just fine. But you can control the speed. See, look here, and that's about as fast as I want to run this. I don't want to get, yeah, that will work just fine right there, because you don't want that pad flying off of there. Get this back out of my way. So that there, and you want to keep these centered, otherwise they'll fly off. But once you have it in there, you keep them RPMs down. And another reason you keep them RPMs down is because this is a rubber. This here's rubber here. It's impregnated rubber with some diamond, grit. But if you get this thing cooking, you'll burn that rubber right across this stone. And then you got to start back down at a lower grit to get it off. Now, when you're in your lower grits from, say, your 50 to 400, it's not such a big issue. But when you get to 800 and above, you want to continuously wet this stone. That's why I have this water here, so I can continuously wet this and get it you know, to polish, but keep the stone cool and this pad cool. It anything under 400, not so much. I actually will run it more dry than I will wet, because I want to make sure I'm getting all the cracks and the scratches and stuff. Because when you run it dry, all the dust and stuff will collect right on the edge of where there's a scratch, and you'll be able to see it. It'll be a line, and you'll be able to see it, and you say, well, I gotta still work that area. Okay, so now I'm going to get to this. Okay, I used the 50 grit to get a lot of that glue off there. It took me a bit because it rolls and stuff on there. And you can see down in here where it actually did fill in a spot right there. But one thing I suggest, if you have a lot of these pads like I do, use some of your older pads to get that glue off, because it will gum up your pad, and you don't want that to happen to your new pads. So just take your time and do it that way. Okay, now I have 100 grit pad on there, and I'm just going to go through these pads pretty quickly, see if I can get a good polish on there with that glue. And I'll just start in on it. I'll show you a little bit of this, and maybe when I get down towards the end I'll show you. It's not a whole lot of difference, you're just changing the pads. I'll probably show when I get to out of the 400 and start into the 800, I'll show you that I actually work the stone a little differently. Okay, as you can see, I just hold this rock in my hand. It's because I'm used to doing it that way. I'm very comfortable. But that's another reason you keep the RPMs down, because you come off of here and you come back and hit the ends of your fingers right there, I can guarantee you it's going to hurt till the pain stops. And that's why I also use warm water, because you don't want your fingertips getting cold from cold water, because it'll hurt twice as bad. Okay, so now I'm just going to go throw these, and I will show you maybe in between and then the end result. Okay, I've taken this out to a 400 grit, and you can see on this rock here, I went dry here just to show. You can see down in here where it's kind of a light line, you can see small lines in here. That is where that glue has went down into the stone, and it's filled in all of them little holes. And a lot of them are so small you probably would have never noticed them anyhow, but it's nice to get them all out of there. And once you wet it, you'll see this one here, you can still see the glue there, but the rest of them kind of fade out. And probably when I get out to a final polish, this down in here is probably the only part you're really going to notice. So I'm just going to go on to the 800 and go through the next grits. And you'll see I won't let this get dry. I'll just take it out, I'll polish, and then I'll get it right back in there. I don't want that pad burning. I don't want it burning that glue or the stone. Just continuously dip, and that's it. Okay, I'm starting in on this 6,000. This is be the last. As you can see, it's coming out pretty good. I can run my fingers across here, and I don't really feel any crevices or anything. So that glue, I can work. Okay, I'll show you when I'm totally done here. Okay, this is the end product, and I'm very happy. Even out here where I know it would have fractured, that glue got right down in there. I don't think I'd ever keep that in a stone, but here where I would be getting a stone, right in there, it stabilized all of that right in there. Now, if I was gonna do a stone with this, see this backside, that's all just rough. But if I had it to where I was gonna make a stone, I would stabilize the backside also, just to give it that extra strength. Now let's get over here in the sunshine and we'll take a look. Yeah, you can actually see where I polished the glue. It's kind of got a flash in there. But when you're looking at it right on, you don't notice it at all. Yeah, that stuff takes a pretty good polish. And I got quite a bit of this stuff here. So, alright, well, that's me polishing with my angle grinder, and hopefully you'll learn some. You can see I get them all spread out over here, and if you're not comfortable putting something like that in your hand, start out with something like this. You know, give your fingers a, I ain't gonna guarantee you won't hit the end of your tips of your fingers, but there's a less likely chance. But yeah, keep the RPMs down low. Once you get past 400, keep it wet. Always wet it. And then, yeah, that was pretty nice. I'd make a nice stone right there. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.